G'day, Lauren. How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Just to set the record straight, Lauren and I know each other. It's Pete again from Thinking Man Business Labs, another episode of the podcast. Lauren and I and her husband Simon have known each other for, I don't know, how long now?
Don't know. 5 years?
Yeah, probably 5 years, something like that. Yeah, 5 years. And I guess it started off when I photographed a wedding back in the day when I was doing a lot of photography, and we got really close. And but I've also been motivated by both Lauren and Simon's story and their growth and what they've actually done from a business perspective and how they've been able to manage a lifestyle of being away from each other, but also managing businesses, and Lauren, from a female perspective, managing a business on her own when it's actually quite difficult to do that without the support staff that most businesses can afford, if that makes sense, right? So what I wanted to do today is to have a chat to Lauren, so that anyone listening that's trying to do something by themselves and trying to follow a dream and do all that sort of thing, that Lauren is one of those people that is truly an inspiration to me and would be an inspiration to a lot of people. So Lauren, introduce yourself and welcome to Thinking Man Business Labs.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And thanks for your wonderful friendship for the last 5 years.
Thank you.
So yes, I am Lauren I run a online fitness business called FHIT by Lauren Hannaford, FHIT, but pronounced FIT. And that's been running for about 3 years now. It's been a total work in progress from, when the day it started to this point. And I've learned so much along the way, and have had incredible support from people like yourself, Pete, and my wonderful husband, Simon, and other friends. But ultimately, I've sort of built it from the ground, from a passion that I had of wanting to help people have an overall health and active life and lifestyle, and be able to do it from the ease and comfort of their home, and not need any equipment to do it. I was touring and traveling a lot with work prior to doing this, so I found myself in a lot of hotel rooms and venues, and needed to be able to adapt training to wherever I was, and be able to, number one, stay disciplined and motivated to train, but also be able to do it with not much space and with no equipment. So yeah. And then I had a number of people who would, I'd put the odd thing up on social media, and a number of people writing, asking for tips on how to do that. And that sort of just naturally progressed into creating FHIT. And I've always been very clear about what I wanted and how I wanted it to function for the benefit of the member. But of course, like, all businesses and all projects that we do, there's a lot of work that is involved, and steps that you have to take to get to that point.
Sure.
But yeah, look, in a nutshell, that's me and the business, online fitness or lifestyle program.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I just want to delve a little bit into your background and what you've done and what got you to that stage. So if you want to talk about where you've come from and how it gives you the authority to because there's a lot of people doing a lot of online stuff right now, and I want to talk about your background, what you've done, and what led you to actually becoming an online fitness instructor, because it's sort of become a cool thing to do during COVID, if that makes sense. But you were doing it long before COVID, and we've been working with it long before COVID. Yeah. So it's one of those things that it's not as if you've just jumped on the bandwagon. You've been doing this for a very, very long time, and your program is very, very refined and much sort of articulated to the user, with the user in mind, with mobiles in mind and tablets in mind, and the whole even the corporate structure, how people can work from home, and work out from home and doing all that sort of stuff. So can you talk to us a bit about your background, how you got there? I know you've done gymnastics and you obviously did the whole Wiggles thing. So just give us a bit of a background of that and how you got into this.
Yeah, well, so I grew up as an elite gymnast. So I started gymnastics from the age of 5, and I was training, 32 hours a week. I think probably from the age of 7. So I've been very involved in sport and training myself. So it's something that I completely sort of understand and have experienced.
Sure.
And know that routine and discipline is what gets you going.
Yep.
And motivation is something. So a lot of people talk about, I don't have the motivation to train or exercise, but it's actually about that routine and discipline that gets you started. So so I grew up as an elite gymnast, trained many hours. So I fully understand how the body can respond in a positive way to physical activity, and that you also don't need any equipment to be physically active and mobile for things in your day-to-day life. Like as a gymnast, we're always throwing our own body weight around. So that was sort of the motivation for me and the style that I've created my business from that experience, and knowing that it does work, and that routine and repetition is really important.
Sure.
And then I did my personal training certificate. So backtrack. When I stopped competing gymnastics, I started coaching. So I then was in the gym doing that and coaching the other coaches as well as my own squad. And everybody just loved the style of training that I was doing. So I thought, okay, there's something in this. So I went and did my personal training certificate to be properly qualified to be taking those classes and those sessions. And then my life went a little bit of a offshoot, and I was asked to join the Wiggles to live tour for a few years, because the shows were very gymnastics based and circus based at the time. So I said, sure, why not? I'll do that. Which then also really helped in the understanding of being able to adapt training to different environments and different circumstances that you find yourself in. So like I was saying, I'd have a small amount of space, backstage at a theatre or a hotel room. So all of that learning and that experience of growing up as a gymnast, I then was adapting into a different style of training with those same principles. And then I was always wanting to continue in health and fitness. So I then came off the road from touring and adapted everything that I'd learnt growing up as a gymnast, and then being someone who was short on time and space and different environment all like every day, to be able to create something that I know other people could benefit from and adapt into their own life.
Yeah, so, sure.
Yeah, it's kind of how it's evolved to where it is, and where that understanding and that discipline and that training has come from my experience.
And I think that's one thing for all the listeners to actually take into account. It's not about being an elite gymnast. It's not about being all that sort of stuff that you've done, which is fantastic that you've done that, because it's coming from a place of authority. But what you've actually learned is you've learned the hard way by, being on the road with the Wiggles, by being on the road with the things that you do, and you've developed a program for everybody, not just for elite gymnasts. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah,
absolutely. It's not about being an elite athlete or learning how to do gymnastics and flip around. It's about understanding consistency and sticking with that consistency. And that is something that my gymnastics training taught me and helped me understand was beneficial, because you are training multiple hours a week. You are training every single day. You're working on the same skill from the age that you are 5 to to now, I'm still doing handstands and trying to make sure that I'm doing it really well. And so it's not about flipping and about being an elite gymnast. It's about understanding consistency and routine, repetition, and that creates a long-term benefit for your having a healthy lifestyle and an active lifestyle.
Yeah, that's amazing. And just like we've talked about in the past, you guys as friends have been there for me through my own battles with mental health and things like that. But how do you feel like fitness fits into mental health and actually getting up and doing things, and how do you do that? Because just because people think you're a fitness instructor, they think you're oblivious to the fact that you're always motivated, because you probably wouldn't be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I mean, everybody's different and they deal with things differently. But I do always try and help people understand that it's not about just kind of getting up and going, oh, hey, I'm motivated. It's about drawing on different things that help get you going. So it's understanding that discipline, practicing that self-discipline to just get started, because you do always end up feeling a bit more vibrant and a bit more
100%.
Awake, or whatever, however you want to look at it. But you get that feeling once you be active, and you don't need to find motivation to get you to do it.
Yes.
It's discipline that gets you started, and then more often than not, that feeling of like, oh, I feel more awake and I feel active and this feels great, that's that motivation. So motivation is going to show up if you do. And then as soon as that feeling, you then want to keep going, and you want to finish the training session, or you want to do whatever it is that you're doing at the time. So it's not, I'm not just always have a magic switch where I'm just motivated all the time. There's many days where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I so can't be bothered. Where are the Tim Tams? I just want to sit and do nothing, which is fine to do also. But you've got to find the right balance between understanding what is good for you physically and mentally, and that's getting up and drawing on that discipline to get you started.
And what do you think, if you could give the most simplest tip to somebody about, you're stuck in bed and you don't feel like doing anything, and you're lying down, and you're like, shit, it's going to be a bad day, right? And like, what's the simplest thing? Is it opening the blinds? Is it getting some sun? Is it just getting up and having a coffee? Like, what gets you sort of going when you're having one of those bad days?
I think it is, you can make it a very simple physical act of just get up and go to the bathroom, or get a glass of water, physically do something, get out of that room. It doesn't have to be, I need to get up and I've got to do this today, I've got to do that, and I've got to go and exercise first. Like, simplify it and just start with get up, walk to the kitchen and have some water. That's all you need to do. You just got to get on your feet. But on a emotional or a mental sense, I always try and have people understand what their why is. So whether it be about getting up and training, or getting up to do some work that they've got to do, or whatever it might be, understand the emotional connection to why it's good for you to do that. And draw on that and think about that. And it's usually quite a few layers deep. Like, for a lot of my members, they say, I really want to lose weight. And I say, well, why do you want to lose weight? Understand why you want to lose weight, because I want to be more physically active. Okay, well, why do you want to be more physically active? And you can get down deep in the layers, and then it becomes about the emotional connection of, wanting to be able to, I want to run around the park with my kids, or, my parents weren't very physically active when I was little. I don't want to repeat the same thing for my children. So it's starting from, the surface of I want to lose weight, but the actual reason is a few layers deep to understand that emotional connection to why you want to.
Yeah, so, that's awesome. That's
great. So similar thing, if you're stuck in bed and you can't get up, try and draw on one of those whys to understand an emotional connection of drive to want to achieve something or do something.
Awesome. And I know it's been going on for a couple of years, FIT, and it's grown obviously exponentially over time. But you obviously have motivation for not only people in fitness but women in business. What sort of recommendation do you have for women who want to do their own thing? Because you're not working from an office, you work from home, and sometimes that can be quite lonely, because Simon's obviously on the road for long periods of time, and it's tough to keep motivated and do all that sort of stuff. So what sort of tips do you have for anyone listening that's a male or a female, I guess it doesn't really matter, that tries to that loses that motivation sometimes, and we all do. I've done the same thing myself, but how do we keep that consistency going? And I know it's about being around positive people, but when you're stuck by yourself and you're doing your own thing, it's a really difficult thing. So what sort of tips do you have for people that are doing that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think it's about trusting in what what the passion is for what you're wanting to do. If it is, creating your own business, and you've got to understand what the passion is, what the drive is for wanting to create that business first and foremost. And again, which I guess is part of the why, and reflecting back on that whenever you're having those moments of, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how to do this. Draw on that passion to keep you going, but also don't be shy to ask questions. You don't have to know all the answers when you are creating your own business. And
awesome. Yeah, so true.
Ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. It's not a sign of weakness in saying, oh, I'm not really sure about that. What do you think? It's okay to ask questions, because you could go around in circles, and then, or you could just, build up the courage, ask the question, and get to what you're trying to get to far quicker.
But how true is it? You could sit in front of a computer for 6 hours and try and search around and find something, or you could make a phone call to somebody that And this is one thing that I always try to explain to my listeners is everyone's got a network, right? Yeah. Whether we admit it or not, we've got a network. And one of the things that a lot of people fail to do is they think that people that are friends, they don't want to annoy them, right? Because they're friends, right? But at the end of the day, friends help friends, right? And it's just what it is. I would rather hear a phone call from you saying, Pete, I need help with this, rather than you sitting there for 6 hours on the internet trying to work things out, when you know that I could have the answer straight away, or somebody else in a different strategic role, whatever that might be. And I think that a lot of people get there stuck because they're too proud to ask for help. So it's one of those things. Don't be too proud to ask for help. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's an important thing to see it as empowering the other person. So rather than thinking, oh, I can't ask that question, I should know the answer, and circling around in your mind, think about it differently and think, you know what? I'm going to call Pete and ask him this question, because I know he'll know the answer, and he'll actually feel really good about being able to give you that answer. And we could talk about it as friends and be able to get there faster. It benefits you. It makes you feel good. I'm empowering you, but also it's helping me get to the result that I need to get to faster. So kind of changing the thinking of going, oh, I don't want to bother friends, and oh, I don't want to ask this, or think of it as, I'm going to empower this person. I'm going to allow this person to feel really good and ask them that question, because it will make them feel good. So kind of think about it in that sort of way, maybe. Might be helpful.
and how do you sort of keep going when you do lose that sort of motivation, when you are alone? Do you rely on friends a lot? Do you rely on your close sort of network to sort of keep you going? How does it work for you?
Yeah, it is. It's about relying on the people that are close around you, and whether it's talking about business or not talking about business, just speak to people, create engagement with other people, because you never know where a conversation is going to go or what it's going to be about, which might then ignite that motivation and that drive in you again. It could be completely unrelated, but you might just feel really good after, talking about dogs in the park. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it just puts you, it lifts you. So then you go, okay, I feel really good from that. And you can get stuck back into what you've got to do.
Perfect.
So drawing on that network and that, and friends and family.
Perfect. Sounds good. So tell us a little bit more, a little bit before we finish up. Tell us a little bit more about FHIT and how it's been going. Obviously during COVID, and you've seen a lot of obviously different people doing things on Facebook and without some of the safety regulations and stuff like that, because you do a lot of that sort of stuff with your clients and all that sort of stuff. So give us a bit of feedback about all the stuff that's sort of going on in the fitness industry. And I'm not saying bag anyone out, because it's not about that, because everybody's trying to help everybody during COVID, and I think that's a legitimate thing. But your program's been around for a lot longer than that, and it's, you've been ahead of the game, and I think it's just going to be better for you as soon as this is over, because you've been through this for such a long period of time. But just give me an idea of what you think of some, just for people to be careful of some of the stuff that's going around and what you're actually doing.
Yeah, look, I mean, everybody has their place in what they're doing. I think one thing to look out for is what is the motivation behind the person who is giving out the information. Is it about them just wanting to build up a business or build up a following, or whatever it is? So sort of keep an eye out for what you feel their intention is, and is the intention completely for you. Like for me, my main focus is the user experience. So the members, they need to know that I am doing this for them. This is about them. And how they move through the programs and through the website and all of that is with completely 100% with them in mind. And same with the workouts. The whole way through the workouts, I'm talking through the technique and to make sure that they're doing it safely, but also to make sure that they're not pushing themselves too hard, and they're just doing the best that they can, and that's fine. You don't want to completely wear yourself out. So I think it's just getting an understanding in what the person's intention is of where you're getting your information from, and what their background and experience or credentials are.
And what about you for FHIT? Are you offering anything during COVID-19, or is it just a normal program? What's sort of happening?
No, I've got, so at the moment I'm doing an offering of 20% off the first month. Yeah. So you can sign up, and maybe we can I'll add in the little code or something in the.
Yeah, sure. I'll put in the comments. Yeah, no problem.
So people can have 20% off the first month to go in there and experience it and have a look around. And there's no lock-in fees or anything like that. People can go on, have a look, see how they go, and then continue, and we can continue working out and having a good time together.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if you wanted to break down everything in a nutshell, obviously the last couple of months has been tough, but obviously you've been doing this for many years. What would be a bit of advice for everybody that's going through what they're going through at the moment? And there's obviously people drinking more alcohol than normal, and probably not as fit as normal, and there's a lot of people going for walks and all that sort of stuff, but you've got your home workouts and stuff like that. So it's one of those things. What would you recommend for them, just to, and especially maybe something around diet and things like that as well?
Yeah, look, I think overall it's about being self-aware. Yeah. I think it is a very difficult time, and there's external factors involved in what then creates certain behaviours, and a reason to feel like something's changed. This has happened, so I'm now doing this. And I think you need to be self-aware and understand what's happening. So people might be drinking more, but they may not actually really notice that they are, or they may just say, oh no, it's just because of COVID that I am. Yeah. But you need to understand it and be self-aware so that those sort of things don't continue once we get out of this, because we will get out of it. And I think it's really important that people can continue to communicate with other people, like this, be on Zoom, jump on a call, FaceTime, whatever it is, and
talk to someone,
communicate with people, talk, and talk about the fact that, oh gosh, I feel like I'm drinking a little bit more.
That's right.
Talking about it is going to help people become self-aware. The same with food, same with diet. You know, you kind of bought at home, so you go to the fridge, It's just about being conscious of what you're doing and self-aware, and making the positive choices for yourself that you've got that subconscious, if you're doing something that you feel like you probably shouldn't be doing.
Beautiful.
That subconscious, and be aware of it, and then make the choices based on that.
Awesome. And what's the website, Lauren, that we can get you on if we ever need to?
www.laurenhannaford.com.au.
Okay, cool. I'm going to have it in all the comments, guys, and have all the links for you guys. I know Simon's there. Simon, you're a lucky man. You're a lucky man. And
I agree.
He agrees, in case nobody heard.
He agrees. And I'm glad to have both you guys as friends, and it's been great having a conversation here in front of the world at the same time. So, I'm just grateful. Thank you very much for your feedback. Simon, do you want to jump on?
Sure.
I'm bringing him over.
He's bringing him over. Here he is. Good on you, buddy. By the way, guys, like I said, I've known these guys for a long time, but they're probably the best couple that I know, and it's just amazing how they make it work. So maybe we'll have them on a podcast about how to keep a marriage together. Maybe we'll do that together one day. But Simon, it's great to see you. And have you got anything to say about Lauren and her business, about how she gets it together?
Well, I've been amazed, these last 3 years that Lauren's been doing this and started this process. I've been amazed at how far she's come. And I overheard bits of what you were both saying then, but it is because she has her members at the foremost of it all, that it's all about the members. It's not about her. It's about trying to make people's life a little bit different, better, and a little bit different, helping them understand how they can do that through what she offers.
Awesome.
But, on a business level, from really starting out from scratch,
yes,
she is now, and the website she has now, and the knowledge and understanding, it's a pretty incredible achievement. So I'm very, very
It is, and you should be. Oh, they're gonna kiss. They're gonna kiss on camera. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Cut us off.
I'll cut it off. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Simon, Lauren, you guys have a great afternoon, and I'll talk to you very soon. Okay?
That's good.
Okay. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.